We have extensive coverage again tonight, beginning with Geneviève Beauchemin.
Watch closely. That flash appears to be the critical moment intelligence officials say shows a missile shoot down Flight 752. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was the first world leader to reveal that stunning conclusion.
We have intelligence from multiple sources, including our allies and our own intelligence. The evidence indicates that the plane was shot down by an Iranian surface-to-air missile. This may well have been unintentional.
An act of war or a mistake in a zone of conflict between the U.S. and Iran that played out early Wednesday. At 1:30 a.m., Iran fires a dozen ballistic missiles onto U.S. bases in Iraq. 6:13 a.m., Flight 1752 takes off, starts its climb. Reports suggest that within minutes, U.S. intelligence detects an Iranian radar signal locking on to the jetliner. And at 6:17, two Russian-made SA-15 ground-to-surface missiles are launched.
It was a guided missile that basically had the intent to bring down whatever aircraft they were targeting.
Then that hit seen on this new video. Ground control loses contact with the plane. 15 seconds go by.
Those 15 seconds, it really was something that's unimaginable fear and unimaginable terror on board the airplane.
The aircraft crashes as a massive fireball, scattering burning debris through a Tehran park and suburb. Sifting through the debris, some evidence that could appear to be shrapnel holes. But Iran issued a blanket denial.
The allegations that it was hit by a missile is totally ruled out.
Iran pointed to an initial report released today by its civil aviation organization and called a hit by its anti-aircraft system scientifically impossible. But evidence on the ground may already have been removed. This photo had fueled rumors the site was bulldozed. And while this was the scene yesterday, images reportedly filmed this morning seem to show the site was cleared. And that's something Canadian investigators may be able to verify firsthand. Iran has invited the Transportation Safety Board to the site, and investigators are making travel arrangements. Lisa.
All right, Geneviève Beauchemin.
Okay, so my fellow Canadians, this should cause you great grief and anger because it appears that the Iranians are trying to conceal evidence, at least in practice. Now, we know from this article, let me just see if I can play through it again. The plane was intentionally shot down by two Iranian missiles, surface to air. Here it is. It made contact with the airplane, and there the airplane crashed already. So my suspicions from the first, when I first saw this this story, they were trying to blame it on engine failure. But I suspected it could never be engine failure to bring a plane like that down, given its reputation and the fact that it can fly with only one engine. Given the degree of the circumstances, if you will, proximity to the missile launching, and also the fact that the debris field, an explosion like that, they're looking here. I forgot what they said. Something like there's evidence on the fuselage. Just give me a moment.
Debris, some evidence that could appear to be shrapnel hole.
Shrapnel hole. So definitely sign of an explosion on the plane before it crash landed. So again, my fellow Canadians, how do we proceed from here? I think if I was Trudeau, I'd try to behave wisely. The Americans have always been our allies. The Americans and Canada has to be like brothers once again. Now can be a golden opportunity, a golden moment for Trudeau to essentially renew bonds with the United States that he separated before. When I look at a situation like this, confirming that Iran shot down our plane, that plane with our Canadians on board, that's a serious sign of, essentially of war, you can say, or a prelude to war. So I say that we need to band together with the Americans and make this a moment where we can behave like brothers, essentially, and be close as we were before. In the past, the Canadians have been the mediators between countries that have animosity between the U.S. and so they send Canadians as peacekeepers, so to speak, to mediate and to try to smooth the road between Americans and the party grieved, let's say. So in every way, Canadians are peacekeepers. Many countries worldwide considered Canada to be a very wise, neutral nation. So in every sense, we look at something like this as it is a very severe problem for Canada. And essentially the Iranians trying to deny it, scientifically impossible, what a load of rubbish that was. The fact that they're clearing the site, bulldozing the site, trying to remove all the evidence of the aircraft is very troubling. They should not touch any of that debris until Canadian investigators have done their thorough investigation and recover the black boxes, which was, in my opinion, the most guilty tell in this story that Iran was responsible. Pardon me. I look at it as something that it can be a blessing in disguise. The Canadians didn't have to die for nothing. The fact that Trudeau here in the statement say it can be an accident. No, it's not an accident. According to the evidence that you have, that device has the ability to lock onto a plane and destroy it intentionally. It's not an accident. They probably didn't know that there are Canadians on board. The fact that they knew Canadian, Iranians, Ukrainian doesn't matter. They shot it down on purpose. The result is 63 Canadians dead. Let's not delude ourselves. This Prime Minister needs to take a decisive action and make sure that we, in our own way, will have to either join the Americans to help them further their cause of peace, right? You cannot delude yourself into thinking peace will come from nowhere. First, there has to be war. There had to be if you talk about peace, you cannot achieve peace without some kind of war, right? Soleimani was prepared to attack the Americans. So taking him out was a strategic move before he could do further damage. Essentially, we need to make closer ties with the U.S. so that we may properly answer or make Iran answer for their crimes in this moment. I look at it deliberate. It is something that needs to be addressed. That thing has to be addressed right away. If Trudeau tried to talk around the issue, I think that is very unwise. I feel that a lot of Canadians will be hurt by this, and it need to be answered for. And Canada is not something that should be taken lightly. The murder of Canadian lives, that should not be taken lightly at all. And the victims, I think after the first missile hit, they have 15 seconds before they crash, and they suffer in that moment greatly. So Iran behaved very badly at this moment, and the Americans are trying to restore peace and order, and we need to join them in that cause, in that endeavor, so to prevent future attacks like this happening with impunity. Because if you recall, the salvo that the Iranians fired didn't hurt any American troops, personnel, or even Iraqis on the ground. So their intended target had no effect. Nothing. If anything, the salvo was like sort of like menacing or something. Intimidation, if you will, with producing no result. If even one American had been killed, Trump will do something very severe. I think he intended, if any American is killed, I will bomb or destroy 52 Iranian targets. And you know enough now, my viewers and those who are watching who saw it, Trump is not bluffing. Trump fully intends to execute that plan if the retaliation is the right circumstances. So Canada should join the cause, because peace is the ultimate aim, and Iran doesn't want peace at this moment. Iran wanted war. So they talk, they shout, a lot of things going on, death to America and all this nonsense. Shut them down and let them restore order, balance. I look at the situation. Canada must be involved now. Canada cannot just stand on the sidelines and act as though nothing happened and talk about peace while they do nothing. Peace cannot achieve with nothing. No force behind it. If you want to make peace, the war must come first. You can say something like, oh, nobody wanted war, nobody... No! Iran wanted war, or they don't push us to this moment. Intentionally or not intentionally, the result is the same. Canadians are killed. Canadians are dead now. It didn't have to be for nothing. That policy of Trudeau to pretend like you talk on both sides of your mouth, your enemy already hurt your own people, killed your own people, and still you act like nothing happened. The wrong way. If I was Trudeau, I approach Trump now. We have a coalition force. No matter the fact that he withdraw his troops to Kuwait, 500 Canadians withdrawn to Kuwait, act of cowardice. Canadians are well trained in battle. We have lots of experience. We have the JTF-2 division, a very advanced fighting force, can bring the war to an end in days. The competency of our troops is not in question. The competency of our leadership is. So I say, in this moment, the evidence is made clear. I don't like to say anything before I can confirm something, and here it is. The plane was shot down intentionally. There's no question about it. The Prime Minister himself already confirmed it. There's nothing more stronger than an admission of the well, it's not exactly an accusation. According to the evidence of our intelligence and the intelligence of our allies, it is confirmed that two Iranian missiles shot that plane down. 63 Canadians dead. And don't think that I forgot about the other victims. More than 100 people, almost 200 people are killed total. So this is a very severe, maybe unintended, it doesn't matter. The consequence is the same. If I was the Prime Minister, I approach Trump now and I seek to make friendship with them and join our forces so that we can restore Iran to order. It is not a small thing for these Canadian families that they're grieving right now, that it can go unanswered. The murders are committed. So, my fellow Canadians, I hope you're watching this. This is a topic I hope that will remain very, very hot amongst Canadian people. They can try to blame Trump in the press, in the biased Canadian press, all they want. That is not the reason. Trump did not fire the first salvo. The attack on the American embassy cannot go unpunished with impunity like it did with Obama's administration. Trump's desire to make the Americans powerful and to be feared and respected again, something that should be taken in consideration. And the fact that 600 Americans were killed under Soleimani, can be confirmed many more that is unknown by roadside bombs under his orders. How many thousands of people can be killed under Soleimani? It cannot be calculated. So, again, I reiterate, the Canadians and the Americans are like brothers. We should join together. We should try to heal the old wounds of the past. The administration from the Trudeau government look like they want to be close to Obama and not Trump. This is not a partisan matter. This doesn't have place for politics. This is a matter of addressing the loss of Canadian lives and acting responsibly in the future. And I think the best route, the best course, is for us to band together with the Americans at this moment and help to restore order in Iran. Or at the very least, assist the American troops in any way that we can have so that we can further the cause of peace that Trump is trying to achieve in Iran and stabilize the Middle East. So I thank you for your time and your attention. Thank you for watching. And I hope that in the future we can prevent something like this from happening again. Goodbye.